Hello, am I audible? You can either reply or write in the chat.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So let's do one thing. Let's wait for a few more minutes because I can see people are still joining. So people might still be in process of joining. So let's wait for a few more minutes before we start the class. Okay?
Oh, okay, ma'am.
Okay, lots of people are just now joining, so I'm going to wait just 5 more minutes because people keep on joining. So let's just wait for a few more minutes until everyone joins. Till then, if anyone has any issues with my audio, please let me know. I hope I'm clear to everyone. You can put a thumbs up or you can write in the chat or whatever you prefer. Or you can unmute. Yeah, okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the response. Okay. So I see a lot of people are joining, so I don't want to, first class, let's wait for some time so everyone can join. Uh, okay. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, this is the first session. I guess maybe you had another PMR of TA, but this will be based on the first week material. I'll introduce myself. People are still joining, so I don't want to start the session right away. Okay. Yeah, maybe we can start now. Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is my voice audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, some people are saying that they have some issue. So please check on your end. I think most people are saying I am audible, so maybe check on your end. Yeah, many people are joining. That's why I am not started yet. Please check on your end. Okay, it's 6:05. People are still joining, but let me just start the class so that we can also go on. So I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know if it's visible to everyone. As you can see, people are still joining. Is it visible for everyone, my screen? I'll just join.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay, great. Fantastic. So let me just join on my phone so I can monitor the chat. Yeah, okay, great. So I'll turn on my camera. Okay. Okay, so hello everybody. People are still joining, but I'm starting because it's already 5 minutes past our time. So yeah, let me just admit everyone from here. I'll do it from my phone. Okay, so yeah, there are a lot of people in this meeting. There's more than 150 now. So it's great. I've never done for such a big class, but let's see how it goes. Let me just join on. One second, I'm just trying to join on my phone so that I can monitor the chat. I'm not able to join. Uh, okay, it's fine. So, okay. So, yeah, hello everybody. My name is Zinia. I am, one sec. Okay, let me just let all these people. Please try to join on time, then it will be easier for me to start also on time. Okay, so next time onwards, it's like 5 minutes past the time. Okay. Uh, So yeah, so hello everybody. My name is Zenia. I am a PhD student at the Indian Institute of Science. I am actually not a computer scientist. I am actually an astrophysicist by training. But don't worry, because I use Python almost every day. I would say almost every day. Every day I use Python in my code, in my yeah, I think everyone has been admitted. Admit all. Yeah, okay. So yeah, again, people who are just joining, it's a very big meeting. I have never had a meeting with 200 people before, so it's going to be new for me as well. So yeah, so hello everybody. My name is Zenia. I am a PhD student at the Indian Institute of Science and a Prime Minister's Research Fellow. So I am basically work on astrophysics by training. I study stars. I basically try to study very exotic stars which are towards the end of their life. So you might have heard of black holes, but there are also these other very interesting stars called white dwarfs and neutron stars. And this is what I study in my research every day. So, yeah, I know it sounds completely unrelated to your course, but believe me when I say that every day in my research, I use Python and I use programming, but specifically I use Python because there are various calculations that I'm not able to do, which I do using Python, which I visualize my results using Python. So there are, various ways in which Python becomes very important for me. And this is something that you will find even whatever field that you go to, right? Starting from physics, astrophysics, chemistry, biology. Today's world is very much, a computerized and, online one. So you will find that everyone has, different aspects of programming that comes into their life. So for me, as I said, it's in my research. So what are these sessions for? So, okay, just give me like 1 minute because many people are still joining. Let me just, is there a question? There's someone's hand is raised. Is there any issues? Is there a hand? There's a hand raised. Any issues? Any questions? Please let me know. Your voice is breaking. Am I audible, everyone? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay. So if you have any issues, please check it on your side. I think most of the people can hear me. If at any point you feel like I'm not audible or something, please interrupt me because sometimes I might not check the chat. Okay. Okay. And others, please mute yourself because otherwise it's very difficult. There is a voice, right? Okay, thank you. Fine. Now there are 213 people. Okay, so let's start. I hope most of you have joined. I hope there are not yet people to join. So again, as I was saying, my name is Zenia. I am an astrophysicist. I am from IISc, and I will be taking these problem solving sessions for you. Okay, so there are going to be these sessions every week at this time, Monday from 6 to 8, which are going to be more of for your understanding of the course. Okay, for your understanding of the course, for you to solve the assignments better, I'll be solving some related questions. So I won't be solving exactly the assignment questions because that won't be fair. That is for your understanding. But I'll be solving some questions which are related enough so that you will be able to apply these concepts to your assignments itself, right? So this is the week 1 session. You have already done the week 1 videos. I don't know, many of you might have already tried the assignment, but maybe this will help you to also gain some more insight into that assignment, right? So another thing is that just as we are doing housekeeping, you might have already had one of the sessions by one of the other PMRFTAs. I don't know how many PMRFTAs are there for this session. So we'll all be solving similar kinds of questions. So please try to join in, because one thing that you will see about programming is that when you have even a single question and you give it to three different people will solve it in three different ways, and all three ways are the same. So it becomes important for us to understand how logic can differ between people, right? So that, I would say, it's like a very good opportunity for you to understand that. So again, because people keep joining, I think around 20 people have joined since I was introduced myself. So yeah, my basically the idea of these sessions is to help you to solve your assignments. That's the short answer. I will be one very important thing is that this is my email ID. So you will be able to find it on all the slides. So if you have any doubts or clarifications, please email me. You can, hello? Is there a doubt? Is there a question? If there's no question, please mute. If there's no question, please mute yourself. Hello?
हेलो
Is there a question? What is the question? Hello?
यस मैम आप थोड़ा हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों में बोलिए थोड़ा इंग्लिश बिल्कुल समझ में नहीं आ रही
I am not I don't know Hindi fluently. I can only speak in English. I'm sorry. Uh, this is if you find it difficult, you can ask one of the other TAs. Okay, please. I'm sorry. I cannot speak fluently in Hindi. That's why. Okay. Any other questions at this turn before we start the class?
If the recording of the video of the class is available in NPTEL
Yeah,
website.
so that's what I was going to say. So basically, the NPTEL, the recording of this video will be uploaded on YouTube, and the video link will be shared with all of you. As well as this is my website where I'll be maintaining all the links. Right now, I have not put the links because it's the very first class. But if you go to the website by today night or tomorrow, I will try to upload the recording of the video and all the slides that I'll be using today. Okay. And again, if you have any questions, I would encourage you to mail me. You can put it in the discussion forum, but that I might take a few days to check. Whereas if you mail me, I will be definitely seeing it on the day, right? So yeah, if you have any questions or queries, or even I would say that because these are doubt clearing sessions, right? You have your regular videos that you will be watching throughout the week, which are pre-recorded videos by sir. But if you have these are live sessions so that you can interact with me, and suppose you have some specific topic that you want to be covered in the session, you can mail me ahead of time, not obviously not on the day or just before the day, but say the session is on Monday. If you mail me the previous Friday or Thursday saying that I would like to have this topic covered in the next class, I can try to make that class about that topic. Okay, does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these are the like sort of the housekeeping things. One is please mail me in case of any doubts or if you want specific topics to be covered. This is the first week class. Don't worry, today's class there is basically no coding. There is mostly, it's all this theory stuff and all that. So don't worry about that. You will all be able to cover. And it's the first class, so it's a little chaotic. I'm sorry. Like there are a lot of people. This is also my first time teaching a non-physics course. So this is going to be a fun experience for me also, hopefully for you also. And I hope you are able to get it. It's useful for you. Okay, so I see one more hand raised. Please go ahead. What is the doubt?
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, so the videos which are being recorded right now will be uploaded on the website?
Yes. So my website is going to have the links where you can find it. It will be on my YouTube channel. And also the NPTEL team, they will be sharing the links with you separately as well. So don't worry about it. Again, right now the links are not active because this is the first class, right? So that is the why the links are not active. But please check the website. Like click on save this URL. I'll put it in the chat at the end of the class and check it by tonight or maybe maximum by tomorrow. I will have uploaded the video and the slides that I'm using today. Okay.
So
Okay.
this
Any other
session? Yeah, this
yes?
session will be every Monday same time, or the time can be changed.
No. It is every Monday from 6 to 8 is the class.
Because
This is
this time is clashing with my other courses, so can we have
so.
some other?
So I am also a student, like a PhD student. It's very difficult for me to change the time. Also, right now there are 250 people in this meeting. So I'm sure everyone has some or the other problem with the time, right? So that's the issue. Please try to join as much as you can. If you can't, the videos will be available. Okay? Is that fine? And I think there is also another PMR of TA. I don't know their name, but they will also be taking the class maybe at a different time. You can try to join for those sessions. So please check with the team. I think for this course, there are more than one such session. So you can try to join for those sessions. Is that fine? I hope that's fine. Is there any other questions? Otherwise, we can start the class. And people are still joining. So I'm just trying to admit them. Yeah, okay, cool. So any other questions, immediate questions before we start the class?
Ma'am, please speak Hindi.
Yeah, I don't know Hindi. I cannot speak fluently in Hindi, so I'm very sorry. But please manage with English. I am trying not to speak very complicated English, but yeah, all your videos are also in English. So it is just my limitation. Okay. I'm sure everybody has another language they are comfortable in. I don't want the language to be only for some people, right? So I will be talking in English. Okay. Any other questions apart from this?
Where can we find the recordings?
Recordings link will be shared with you later. Okay. And if you can't find the link, please mail me. I will share it to you. Otherwise, go to my website. You can see this URL here, right? So I will be uploading the link to the recordings there. It will be on my YouTube channel. Okay. Okay, so don't worry about this recording and all. Right now, you're in the class. If you're not in the class only, you have to worry about recording, right? It'll all be shared with you. Don't worry about it. Slides will also be shared with you. Okay? And yeah, please, the Hindi thing, again, I want the language to be understandable by everyone. So it will be difficult. And also, I am not very fluent in Hindi. So it's not going to work. Okay? Okay, I hope there are no more questions, immediate questions to be solved, so we can move to the class. Is that fine, everybody? There's a huge number of people, so like, yeah,
Yes,
at
ma'am.
least.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great, fine. So yeah, so as I said, and as I clarified to some of you, these classes are not for, teaching you the new things. It's more to recap whatever you have learned throughout the week and solve some problems so that we can understand it better. That will help you for your assignments. Okay. So, quickly to recap, you have seen the following things in your first week lectures. You have seen basically it was like an introductory week, right? Where you didn't really have any hardcore programming or Python as such. You are most looking at the programming and programming logic. You're seeing how to approach coding. There are different programming languages by which you can approach coding. And you have used this tool called Scratch so that you can do a little bit of the understanding the programming logic. So one very important takeaway that you have to keep in mind is that there may be many different programming languages, but the programming logic is the same. And it's difficult for me also when I was designing the slides because programming logic is not really something that we can teach, right? It's like common sense. You cannot teach common sense to someone. It should come from someone, right? So programming logic is not something where you can sit and learn, just like how you learn your multiplication tables. You cannot sit and by heart. You have to solve a lot of problems and then only you will get it. And you have to have that problem solving mindset. So if you approach programming like you approach, say, memorization, then it will not work. Okay, I'm telling you now itself at the beginning of the course. If any of you are like, okay, if sum of 10 numbers comes, I will memorize this program, then you are not a programmer. You are just a memory machine, right? You should not approach coding like that at all, because tomorrow if you memorize for 10 numbers and if someone asks you to do the same problem for 20 numbers, you will not be able to do it because you have only memorized. Whereas if you know the logic, if I tell you 10 numbers, 20 numbers, 80 numbers, you will still be able to solve the thing. So this is how you approach programming. And you don't worry if it's a little difficult at the beginning. The more you do it, the more it becomes natural. It's like riding a cycle, right? You can talk about the theory of riding cycle how much ever you want, but only when you take the cycle and you go on the road, then only you will, you have to fall one time, two times, then only you will get that balance, and then only you will get the idea of riding the cycle. So this is the concept of programming. You have to keep doing it, right? And you have to do it. You have to get down and do it. You have to solve the problem. You shouldn't look online for the solution. You shouldn't memorize it. This is what about the full course. Now itself I am giving you a disclaimer. Okay, someone's hand is raised. Please, any questions, please let me know. Any questions? I can see some hands are raised. Is there any issue? Okay, if you have any issues, please put it in the chat. I think we can move on. We are already
Hello,
a
ma'am.
little bit. Yeah. Please tell me.
Will you share the slides or we take screenshot of it?
No, I will share the slides. Don't worry about taking screenshots. Slides will be shared, video will be shared. Just go to the website, everything will be made available. Right now, the links are not active because it's the first class. But by tonight, I'll upload everything. So don't worry about it. It will be shared with you. And NPTEL team will also share with you. Okay?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes?
Hello.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
like
One
in
at a
the
time. Yeah, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
ma'am, I was asking that in the last two classes I was not present. So, ma'am, where will be the content shared?
Okay, I'm going to say this once. Okay, please everyone listen. This is the first class that I am taking. Maybe there are some other PMRFTAs, but me, Xenia, this is the first class I am taking. Okay, my videos, my slides will be available on this website. This is a website of my, sorry, this is a page of my website. I'll share the URL actually after the class. So this is the website. Can you see? That you can see the meeting link. I'll make this active after the class. I'll put the slides here. So please go to this website and you will find all the links that are available. Is that fine? And if you cannot find the slides or the thing or anything, please mail me. I'll give it to you at the spot. Okay? So
Okay,
is there,
Ma'am, I have a question.
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I haven't gotten to these like the video sessions. Have not really gotten to them yet. So is it fine if I attend this session?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I will not be actually going through the videos again. If that's what you're expecting, then it might be a little difficult for you. I'm just going to recap a few things, say a few extra things. And this is mainly so that you can solve your assignment questions. So I will be solving a few questions in this class which are related to your assignment questions. So maybe if you want the full context, you can watch the other videos also. Okay, so again, all the housekeeping stuff I hope is done. Like you will get the slides, you will get the recording. Don't worry about the links. They will be on my website, and the PMRF team will also share with you. You got the link to this meeting, right? Same way, you will also get the link to the slides and the videos. Is that fine?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
It is
Yes,
fine.
ma'am.
It is fine, ma'am.
Ma'am, the
Yeah.
timing of the classes will be the same because, ma'am, I have classes of my
Yeah. Okay.
tuitions.
Okay, listen. So, right now there are 260 people in this meeting. Okay, it is going to be very difficult to find a time that no one has a problem with. I also have my own commitments. So, about the time, I'm very sorry. I can't do anything. That's why I'm saying the recordings will be available and the slides will be available. And if you need any personal interaction with me, please mail me. I check my mails very regularly. This is my mail ID. Please mail me and I will verify for you. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, cool. So again, don't worry about all this recording and stuff. It will be fine. You will not be left without getting the slides and the recording. Okay. So I think we can start. We are also already, it's 6:30. So yeah. So as I said, the first week lectures was basically about all your introductory stuff, and I want you to have this mindset about programming, which is that programming is like riding a cycle, right? No matter how many books you read, you won't know how to ride a cycle until you go and ride the cycle, right? So you have to be the one to go and ride the cycle. It's not enough if you watch your friend ride a cycle. It's not enough if you watch videos of people riding cycle. You have to be the one to go out and ride the cycle. So this is the idea behind programming, and this is how you should approach programming as a whole. Okay. So this is a very nice quote that I found about programming, which is that a good programmer looks both ways before crossing a one-way street. So what does this mean? Basically, even though it is a one-way street, a programmer is such a person who has to think of all the possible solutions or all the possible cases before they solve a problem. So this is a good programmer. So this is the mindset that you should have, right? So in simple words, you know that coding is to create some instructions so that the computer can follow the task. But when you create the instructions, there is an amount of creativity involved, and you should always approach the problem in such a way that you are thinking about what are the different ways in which you can approach the problem, what are more importantly the different ways that can go wrong, because that is something that you will see when you start programming, is you have to take care of all the simple things, right? Computers are very smart, but they can't do anything on their own. So we need to instruct the computer taking care of all the cases. Otherwise, it will be, the computer will not be able to follow, right? Computer cannot think for itself. It can only perform the tasks. So we have to do all the thinking. We have to do all the logical work before we write a program. Okay. So this is like a comic that I found about, a humorous comic that I found, which is about how programmers think. So you can see how this person is locked out of, someone's flat, and they are trying all these complicated solutions, trying to hack into, their laptop, their IP address, all that. But then, they haven't tried the simplest solution, which is the doorbell. So this is something that can happen a lot when you do programming at some point, is that you will take care of all the complicated cases, like looking both ways before crossing a one-way street, without taking care of the simplest case. So that is also possible, but it just tells you how, programming involves a lot of overthinking, and you have to get ready for that. Okay, so this is just a small joke that I wanted to start off with. So, very quickly, I wanted to, because in the videos, your usual videos, you have already.
Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Okay, did someone mute me? I think I was I muted? Could you hear me? Should I? Okay. Please be careful. Don't mute me, guys. Okay. Anyway, anyone, any questions or anything? So I was saying that programming, a good programmer is someone who looks both ways, even in a one-way street, because programming involves looking out for, all the possible cases. Computers cannot think for themselves. We have to think for the computer and create the program, right? So in this comic, it shows you how programming involves a lot of overthinking, and you kind of have to get used to that when you're becoming a programmer. Okay, so this is just a funny comic that I found that maybe you will enjoy. But essentially, the idea is that, computer can only perform the tasks, but we have to take care of all the logic, all the different cases that can arise when we solve a problem, right? Because problem does not only have one root, there are many different things that can happen while solving the problem. So these are the things that we have to take care of. Okay, so I wanted to, because you have already seen about, all this stuff of, the basic things of computing and programming in your lectures by professor in the video lectures. I wanted to give you some other sort of context, right? So this is basically a timeline of how computing has evolved over the years. In some ways, the abacus was the first calculator because it was a machine that performed computing for us. But the first real computer that we would call a computer was sometime in the 70s. And then finally, 80s was when the internet came. And then around the 90s and onwards, we have this, personal computers, internet. Now, anyone can access anything, right? That's the reason we are able to talk right now. So an important thing that many people don't realize is that the first computers were actually people. So because I'm an astrophysicist, I will come up with examples that are from astrophysics. This is a group of women who are called, please mute yourself if you're not having any doubt because it's difficult. So this is a group of women who are called the Harvard computers. They were a group of unskilled women who were in Harvard University. And hello, is there a doubt? Okay, so there's a group of women who are at Harvard, and in the olden days, now we have lots of telescopes and we have big computers which can process the data that comes from the telescopes, right? No actual physicist goes and looks at the telescope and notes down the data themselves. We have sophisticated systems to do that for us. But in the olden days, it was not like that. People would observe the stars and they would record them on photographic plates. And there were these women who were called computers, and they were the ones who would analyze each and every plate, to see each and every photographic plate, to see how the position of the stars vary, what are the different stars in the sky, and so on. So, the first computers were not really the PCs and laptops that we are used to today. The first computers were people. And this is a very beautiful example that I find from astrophysics of women, especially unskilled women, because lots of these women were not allowed to have university education at the time. They were just, treated as computers, literally, who had to just process the data. And they are the reason that we have mapped out the sky even back then. So the first computers were people, but of course that didn't remain for so long. And this, does anyone know who this is?
Hello,
Anyone?
ma'am. Hello,
Okay,
ma'am.
this, yeah,
Hello,
please
ma'am. Please,
go.
please explain the previous topic,
Madam Kudi.
previous slide. Please go to the previous slide and explain once more.
Okay, so
Yes,
what I
yes,
was,
this slide.
yeah. Okay, so in the old, so right now when we have telescopes which look at the sky, right? The data is automatically written onto some hard disks, and there are sophisticated softwares which have been developed by all over space agencies and scientists all over, and they process the data, right? They take care of the data, they reduce the data, analyze the data, everything. But back in the olden days, that work was done by people, and they were called computers. So in some sense, the very first computers were actually, you know, people. They were human beings and not the PCs and laptops we call. So this is a group of women. They were called the Harvard computers. I encourage you to read about this history. It's a very interesting history. And these are a group of women who actually, the pictures of the sky would get recorded on what are called photographic plates. And you had to look at the plates and you had to analyze the position of the stars. You had to identify the star, classify the stars. And that was done by this group of women who were called the Harvard computers. So this is not anything to do with your course. I just want to, like, usually when I teach my classes, what I do is I try to put in a lot of extra information because it's fun, right? These are the things that you don't hear about in your usual classes. Okay, so yeah, that being said, let's go to the next slide. I hope this clears it up. Okay, so I asked if anyone knows who this is. Someone has answered, Ada Lovelace. I'm very happy. So this is actually the first computer programmer. Her name is Ada Lovelace. She realized that we can write some instructions for a computer or a machine to follow. And she was the one who wrote the first algorithms, the first programs as such, right? Even though at the time when she was doing all that, there were no computers, there were no machines. It was when Charles Babbage was like trying to come up with the idea of computer. It had not been built yet, but she realized this idea, this powerful idea that logic can be written down into steps, right? Any task can be broken down into a series of steps, and that steps can be fed to a machine, and that machine can perform the task for us. So that's what I mean when I say programming logic and programming language are two different things, right? We to understand, to feed a computer, we only need the programming logic, even if we don't even have the programming language. Okay, so is everyone able to follow till now? I just want to, these are all some fun things for you to understand. So this is a video that I included about early programming. Maybe I will skip it, but it's in the slides. Again, don't worry about it. You will get all.
Unmute
Unmute
yourself,
yourself.
ma'am.
Ma'am, unmute yourself.
Okay, listen, if someone is muting me, please don't do that. It's very difficult because I am not muting myself and I'm getting muted in between. So please don't mute me if you are doing that. It's really difficult. Okay. Okay, fine. Sorry about that. I was saying that this is a video that I had included to show you guys about how early programming was done. I'm not going to play it now because I think we're a little behind. So let's just move on to the rest of the slides. Yes. Hello. Is there a question? Okay. So, hello. Is there a question? I can't hear anything. Is there a question? Can you put it in the chat? Is there a problem? Okay. Okay, fine. So, okay. So what I was saying is in the olden times, before we had these silicon chips and sophisticated computers, the way that programs were written were using these things called punch cards. So people used to physically punch in the numbers and all these things and feed them into machines for them to read the data, right? So this was how programming used to be done. There's a very nice video. It's only like 10 minutes or so where they actually talk about all that history. I think it's a good idea to watch it just to understand a little bit more about the context of how programming has evolved over time. Okay, so I'm not playing it now because I think it's 6:40. Let's move to the questions. But it's in the slides, so please go and like take a look after the class. Okay. Okay, so this is basically how the different languages have evolved. You can see that starting from 1940s to, of course, the topic of our case is 1991 is Python, and that will be most of the context of what we'll be doing. But you can see that many different languages have been evolved over the last, 80 years or so. So there are many different programming languages, some of which were listed in the previous slide. Some of them are given here. Okay, let me just go to the thing. I think someone is mute. Okay, if you have any doubts, please unmute. Otherwise, I have just muted everyone because the sound is very disturbing. Okay, people are still joining. Please join on time. Then it will be very smooth, these classes. Okay, join on time. Then we can end on time also. That's why I also don't want to keep anyone. Okay. So, yeah, so these are the different programming languages, some of the examples of the programming languages that are present today. And you might ask, why are there so many programming languages? Well, it's because different languages have different purposes to serve, right? So as I said, I am personally in my research, I use Python almost every day. Python is a very user-friendly, beginner-friendly language that you can easily pick up. I use it for visualizing, for graphing my results and all that. But Python can be slow. So if I want to do some big calculations, very long calculations, sophisticated scientific numerical calculation, then I will prefer to use either C++, Fortran and all that. And you will see that a lot of these sophisticated softwares have been written in those. So maybe next class we can go into why Python is slower than C++ or what are the differences. But for now, what you need to know is that all of these are useful in their own way. All of them have their own place to their stay. And Python, being Python, is one of the most beginner friendly and useful languages that we have. Okay, so Python is high level general purpose programming language. So one thing that Python has that makes it very user friendly is that it has very readable code, right? You don't have a lot of jargon that for example, when you look at C code, if you don't know any C, it can be little difficult to understand what's going on. Whereas in Python, you will find that there is not much syntax or formatting. So even a person who knows very little programming can easily understand Python code, and that's something that you can do, right? So this is something that Guido van Rossum, who's actually the person who created Python, said about Python. Why should you use Python? Because Python gives you productive and readable code. Don't worry about this, but basically life's better without braces. So what braces means is that in, for example, C++, you have a lot of brackets, you have semicolons everywhere. It just looks like so much work to understand C++. Whereas Python code in that sense is very neat, in the sense that you don't need to take care of all these extra things when you write Python code. And that's something that you can appreciate if you've ever written code in another language, right? It's very easy to write Python code. Very quickly you can pick up Python. So this is why it's a very good thing to have your first programming language be Python. And that way you can build up your logic. And as I said, once you have programming logic, you can just apply that to any other language, right? Once you learn this course, to learn C, you just need to learn about all those specific, braces and semicolon syntax stuff, but you will have the logic already with you. Okay. So this is just a very quick video about why Python is there.
A high-level interpreted programming language famous for
But
its...
maybe we can skip this as well because we don't have time. But I just wanted to show a few things. Yeah, basically where and all Python is used, it's basically used everywhere. Basically, it's very readable, whatever I said. And yeah, it has a lot of good uses. It tells you a little bit about the history of Python and all that. So you'll also be able to appreciate as you go through the different basically different things. Okay. So yeah, people are still joining. Hi, people who are just now joining. Thanks for joining, but please try to join on time next time because it's very difficult for me. So that if you join on time, then it'll also be easy for us to end on time. Okay, fine. So this week again, all these videos and stuff are linked in the slides. You will be getting the slides eventually. Don't worry about it. My website, I'll share the link with you. It'll be updated by tonight. So please go and look at the videos because I searched around and found some videos which will be helpful for you. Okay. So let's just go to the next. So as I said, maybe before some of you joined, I am an astrophysicist. I am not a computer scientist by training. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing or how will you see it, but don't worry. I use coding every day in my research and I specifically use Python almost every day in my research, right? So where does an astrophysicist use programming, right? I do numerical calculations when analytical solutions are not available. Like, for example, there are certain problems which are too difficult to solve by hand. And sometimes I'm just lazy, right? So these calculations are readily can be done in matter of milliseconds or few, minutes by computers, and that's where we do that. So as I said, the first computers were women. They were the Harvard computers, and they were the people who were reducing the data coming from various telescope observations. Nowadays we have huge clusters and superclusters to do that for us. All the data which comes from telescopes goes through a lot of software and algorithms to process it, and that's an important part of astrophysics because without the data we don't really have any idea about where to start our theories from. And of course, once we get results to visualize how different quantities are related to each other, how evolution of certain quantities happen, we have to visualize our results through graphs and plotting tools. So these are the main three places where I use code personally in my research. But there are so many more applications for coding. Simulations, for example, are very important where we can simulate a physical system within the computer, let it evolve over millions of years within a system so that we can understand what happens, because we as humans cannot wait for millions of years, but we can make the computer kind of go forward in time millions of years and tell us what the system would look like, right? So these are all different ways in which programming comes in, and I'm sure that whoever you are, you have some way in which programming and coding plays a role in your life. So yeah, this is just a few slides that I included to first just introduction stuff. Any doubts? Someone is speaking? Hello, was someone speaking? Okay, I can see there's a hand raised. If you have a doubt, please go ahead. If you have a doubt, is there a doubt? Anyone has a doubt? There's a hand raised, I can see. Is there a doubt? Please go ahead. Okay, is there anything in the chat? No doubt, ma'am. No, okay. But I can see there are two people with their hands raised. Any doubts? Okay, if there are any, okay, I can see, yeah, okay. Please continue if you have a doubt. Due to some noise, I can't speak. Okay, please put your doubt in the chat then I can see it. Can you write it down? Others also, if you have any doubts, you can write it down if you have the issue. Okay, so about the lecture again. Okay. Guys, no one will leave you without giving you the recording and the slides.
Am I
Okay?
audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Please tell.
Senior madam, good evening. This is Bibin Sagar from Kerala.
Okay.
Actually, my doubt is that for the programming beginners, which
Yes.
are software we have to install for writing program, and all those things will be there in the study material. Is it the? I have gone through only first week materials only.
I think, yeah, this week you don't have any Python. So that's why. But so for using Python, you have to first, of course, you have to install Python. You have to install the packages. So there is a package manager called Anaconda. I think I have gone through some of the lectures. I think sir will be explaining. how to do it. So by the next week, you will be able to do all that. So don't worry about it. And you have the internet. If at all you want to go ahead, you can search. You will find literally hundreds of resources where you can find how to install Python, how to write the code, what are the IDEs used, for example, all that stuff you will find very easily. Okay. So don't worry about that. Right now, you don't need it, but yeah, please like wait for week 2. You can look through week 2. If you can't find it, just search online. Find lots of tutorials. So, okay, so Priya, don't worry. Okay, these lectures I'm doing, the slides I'm making are for you all. It will be given to you. As I said in the beginning of the class, maybe you are not here. All the videos will be recorded and put on my YouTube channel. Also, the slides will be shared with you. These slides and videos will be shared with you by the NPTEL team, but also I will just go to my first slide again. Maybe I'll stop here for some time. This is my email ID. Please mail me here if you have any issues. But this is my website. In my website, I can just go here. This is my website. Here you can find, this is the course page. This is the meeting link. I'll upload here. I have not linked it yet because it's not done, because this is the first class. But just check by tonight. Okay, tonight or tomorrow morning, I will upload the link here. I'll upload the slide link here. Just you have to click these links. I've taken an NPTEL course before. You will find all the links there. So just like that, you can find the YouTube playlist, the slides here. Okay, don't worry. The reason to have this lecture and all is so that you can have. Okay, please don't ask this again. Okay, I'm just saying this. So I'm going to continue on with the lecture. Okay.
Ma'am, hello ma'am. I have one question.
Yeah, continue. Tell.
Ma'am, if the language C hash and C both are same.
No, C sharp is a little different. I don't use C sharp, so I can't tell you the exact difference. But yeah, it builds on C, but it's a little different. It has some different use cases. I have not personally used C sharp, so I cannot tell you about it.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Just like C and C++ are different, like C++ added object-oriented programming, it's called. It's a little technical. We don't have to go into it. But C sharp is also adding something, I'm sure. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So
Ma'am,
yeah.
sorry to ask.
Yeah. Any other doubts? We can go to the questions.
I joined little late, ma'am. I think you have explained some slides to audience, it seems.
Yeah, okay. So don't worry about it. Recording is present. Okay, please go and watch the recording. Okay, is that fine? Okay, fine. So yeah, I have not handled such a big class before, so it's a little chaotic. So let's just go forward. Okay, about this recording and slides, please, I'll just talk about it at the end. Let's just go to the problems. Okay, so what was I saying? So basically, you guys have already got an idea about how programming logic is and what to do. So I wanted to just give you a few different things to contextualize programming for you. And now we can do some questions. So how I usually structure these classes, because I have taken an NPTEL class before, it's an astrophysics lecture, is that I will show you the question and I want you to write the answer in the chat. I know there's a lot of people, but let's try it this week. If it's too chaotic, I didn't expect that nearly 300 people will come, but if it's too chaotic, then maybe we can try something else. But for now, let's just continue with the format. Okay, so I will show you the question. The question will have 4 options A, B, C, D. Please put the answer in the chat. Okay, instead of saying it, that will be very chaotic, put it in the chat. Okay, is that fine? Okay, cool. So I wanted to start with some programming logic, in the sense that we'll do some sequences and all that, so that you get an idea of how to think outside the box. Okay, so let's just start with this. So this is the first question. Look carefully for the pattern, then choose which pair of numbers comes next. So 20, 20, 17, 17, 14, 14, 11, and then what should be the next two numbers? So please put your answer in the chat. Okay, just write your answer in the chat. Because if we solve, it is difficult. Okay, I can see a lot of people are writing E. I'll give a few more seconds in case people are writing. I can see someone has said A, but most of you have said E. One person has said B. Okay, very good. So I think everyone got, I mean, most of you have got it. In case anyone has not got it, the idea is that you have each number repeated 2 times, right? So you have 20 2 times, 17 2 times, 14 2 times, and then 11 should also be repeated 2 times. So one more 11 should come. But what should be the next number? For that, you can see that 20 after 20, it's 17, which is 3 times less. 17 is 14, 14 is 3 less, 14, 11, 11 is 3 less. So what is 3 less than 11 is 8. So all of you got that. Very good. Next question. Again, put your answer in the chat. A, B, C, or D. Okay, a lot of people are saying C. I'll wait for one more minute in case others also want to answer. So the reason that I do it like this is because when you try the questions, it becomes much easier for you to understand and do your assignments rather than if I just sit and tell you all the questions, right? So better for you to try the questions and try to solve them yourself. So I'll give you a few more seconds in case people are still trying or want to answer. Okay. Okay, I can see a lot of C in the chat. Very good. So the answer is C. And again, you can see this is like STUV. The second letter is basically skipping one. So C, D, E, F, G, H, I. And the last one is skipping, again, D, E, F, G, H, IJ. So that's how you do it. So you might think that it's very silly to solve such questions, but seeing patterns, seeing logic is very important because, as I said, we have to communicate such patterns to the computer. For that, we should be good at trained at recognizing patterns, right? Nowadays, you will see that everywhere you see on the internet, there is machine learning, AI. These are the big terms that people are using. Machine learning is nothing but training the computer to look for patterns, right? So pattern recognition is very important, and that's why these kinds of questions can be very helpful. Okay. So one more question. Okay, sorry, I didn't put A, B, C, D, but this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. So yeah, just which of the following, just write A, B, C, or D. 1, 2, 3, or 4, whichever. 4. You can please write it in the chat. It's a little easier to monitor the chat than if you say it. Yeah, please write your answers in the chat. So yeah, you can write it as okay. Okay, I can see again lots of people are saying bud or C. One person says daisy. People are still joining. Guys who are joining now, please join on time. It's very difficult if you join late. And then if you ask questions, which I already explained in the beginning, is very difficult. Then other people's time will go. Okay, so join on time. Okay, is my voice breaking?
No, ma'am.
Okay, please check your internet.
No, ma'am.
Your internet has some issue then. Person who has written that in the chat. Maybe your internet, some issue on your side. Okay, so any other answers? This answer some seems like okay. So this question, the answer is actually bud. So the reason why this is bud is I'm just giving the answer because I don't see any more people answering. But basically, these three are type of flowers, right? Tulip is a type of flower, rose is a type of flower, daisy is a type of flower. But bud is actually not a type of flower. It is like one of the stages of the flower, right? Like it will become from seed to plant. I'm not a biology student, whatever, bud and then flower. So this is not a type of flower. That's why it's different. So if you want more such questions, I would recommend all of you to visit this website. Again, before you ask, these slides will be shared with you, recording will be shared with you, so you will be able to find the website. Please go to the website and you can find many such questions in all the categories. I would say that if you are, wanting to get better at your logical thinking and all that, please go and visit the website. Okay, is this okay for everyone? Now I'm going to the rest of the questions, which will be more of your computer sciencey questions. Okay. Any
Ma'am,
questions? Yeah, please
ma'am,
tell me.
ma'am, will this type of questions be coming in exam?
I don't think these kinds of questions will come in the exam. This is just for your understanding. But I also don't know the format of the exam. I don't set the exam paper. I am just for, conducting these sessions. You can ask that in the discussion forum, what will be the format of the exam. Okay. But again,
Thank you,
please
ma'am.
don't learn only for exams. That's not how programming works. Okay. Anyway. So, okay. So now next question is more of your what you have been doing. So what is the best definition of a variable in programming? A, B, C, or D? Please put the answer in the chat. And again, please don't approach the course thinking about exam, mark, recording. Try to enjoy the classes also. Please put A, B, C, or D in the chat. Oh, okay. I can see that there are two options which people are kind of confused between B and D. Two kinds of questions. I can see many people, but I think it's like 70% people are saying B, or maybe 75, and or maybe 80% people are saying B, 20% people are saying D. I'll wait for a few more seconds because there are 260 people. You should all give a chance to try and answer the question. Again, as I said, until you write the cycle or you try the questions, you will not understand, right? So please try on your own and then we'll see. Okay. I see. So now people are writing B. Okay. Fine. So the answer is B. So I understand why people can think it's D, but D is kind of different, right? Variable is something that you define that stores data during a program, right? So it shows their numbers or your values that are used in the computation. Whereas reserved words are part of the programming language, like if is a reserved word, right? If you can't name a variable if, for example, because if has a very important meaning in the looping structure, right? If has a meaning, else has a meaning, break has a meaning. So what you will find in Python is if I name a variable if, it will not allow me to name if. I can't name a variable true because true has a very specific meaning. So those are not variables, right? Because they cannot be defined by us. So variable is something which is a storage location. Variable is basically points to a storage location which stores the data. So when any calculation happens, that storage location is updated in your computer. Okay. I hope the people who said D maybe got little confused. That's okay. But I hope it's clear for you now. Again, a lot of these concepts will become even clearer when you start to write your own programs. Then you will exactly know what is variable, what is not variable, and so on. Okay. So humans get very bored during repetitive jobs. Was there a doubt? Is there a doubt? Anyone? If there's a doubt, please tell me. I can see a hand raised. Yeah, variable is not a reserved word, correct? Okay, so humans get easily bored during, I don't think there's any doubt, so I'm just moving. Humans get bored during repetitive jobs, but computers are masters of iteration. Iteration means when something is going through a number of times, right? So in programming, there is a control structure which allows repetition. What is that control structure called? So Please put your answers in the chat again. That will be easier for me to monitor. Okay, I can see lots of people saying C. Immediately, lots of C, loop, C. If any other answers or any other guesses people want to answer, I'll just wait for 2 minutes. Can still see a hand raised. If there's a question, please, like after this question, I'll ask you for your doubt. Okay, I can see lots of people saying C. Yes, the answer is C. Very good. So this is called a loop. A loop is basically, if I tell you to print hello 100 times, you don't have to sit and write hello, 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 hello 1 to 100 times, right? You can just say, you can tell the computer repeat this 100 times. And there are different ways to have loops, right? There are do loops, while loops, do while loops, for loops, so on. We'll try to glow through this when we write our programs. But looping is one of the very important ways in which computers can help us save time, right? If I have to sit and write hello 100 times as a human being, I have to take my pen and paper and I have to count and write hello 100 times. Whereas in the computer, I can write one line, repeat hello 100 times. Of course, I have to write it in the language of the programming language. But once I give enter, within matter of seconds, I will get hello 100 times, right? There are many ways in which this can help us to save time. So learning loops is very important in that context. Again, it's very
Hello, ma'am.
difficult
I
to
have
just...
one doubt. Hello, ma'am.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have one
please
doubt.
tell me.
Ma'am, please explain the question once more.
Okay, the question was that, see, humans are bored of doing repetitive jobs, but computers can iterate. Iterate means doing something again and again, right? You can
Ma'am,
see
what
that
means repetitive jobs? Repetitive job means?
repetitive job means something that you have to do the same thing again and again, right?
Okay,
You
ma'am.
get bored of doing repetitive things, right? Repetitive means something that repeats.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So if I tell you to go and sit and write hello 100 times, you will find it boring, right? It's like imposition that you used to get in school. So it's like a punishment for us. But for computer, it's not like that, because for a computer, it's very easy. But we need to know how to do. So computer, everything is easy. But we need to know how to give the instructions properly. And that is what programming is all about. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. Good. Cool. Okay, so these are just so that you are familiar with the terms, right? I'm sure these questions won't be asked in your exams or anything. Don't worry about those things. These are just so you're familiar with the names, right? Tomorrow, if someone comes and tells you, oh, change that variable name or write this loop, you shouldn't get confused like which is variable, which is loop, right? You should know the terminology. That's why this is there. Okay. So programming, this is the next question. I hope everyone is okay and there's no questions. Again, if there are any questions, please interrupt me. These are doubt clearing sessions for you to clear your doubts. So programming logic is different from programming language. Programming languages are many, but programming logic remains the same across all programming languages. So this we have already said. So which of the following is a programming logic? Please put your answer in the chat. Okay, I see lots of people saying D, but I'll wait for one or two more minutes in case there are more doubts. Okay, that's great. So the answer is D. Okay, so D is the answer. basically the logic is different from programming language. Basically, yeah, programming, these are all examples of programming language. Logic is different. It's basically the thinking that you have over, um, how to apply or give the instructions to the people. Okay, this is the next question.
Hello.
Yeah, please let me know what's the issue. Hello.
Am I audible?
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. Can you summarize brief what are we going to do next in entire this meeting?
I don't understand. What do you mean?
I'm going to say that can you summarize brief what we're going to do next in this entire meeting?
Well, I'm solving the questions, right? I'll be going ahead with that only.
Okay, and it will continue the question solving.
What? Sorry?
It will continue do the question solving or something else like previous lecture. You have proceed with introduction part, like first.
Yeah, so I finished the introduction part. Now I'm doing the questions. I'll be continuing with the questions. Okay? Is that fine?
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Okay. Okay. I can see that people are saying E. Yeah, the answer is E. Okay, so all of these are open source question software. So what is an open source software is essentially something that you can freely access to the public, right? Tomorrow, when you will be downloading Python to use in your classes, you don't have to pay any money, right? Whereas when you use something like Photoshop, right? Photoshop, you have to pay Adobe money, then only you can use Photoshop. So Java, Python, Fortran, Perl, these are all free software in the sense that these are open source. So their source code are available. You can go and people, the public collaborates. And what you'll see in Python is that in Python you have a lot of thing called packages. Okay, so Python packages are basically when you start using Python, you will see that there are different Python packages which are developed for different applications. So again, I'm an astrophysicist, so I will talk from that perspective. But in astrophysics itself, to process the astrophysics data, we have this package called AstroPy. And that was not written by the original Python developers, right? That was written by some astrophysicists for their use. Similarly, you will find that you have NumPy, you have Matplotlib for plotting. You have all these different Python packages, and they have been developed by the community that uses Python. And you will see that people try to write their own packages and put inside Python. So that's why Python is open source, and that makes it very powerful. Whereas, for example, if you're using Windows and you want to create a Windows application, you can't go and create a Windows application yourself, right? You have to go through their formatting and all that. So that is the idea behind open source versus proprietary. The other
But
software are called
ma'am,
proprietary.
I have a doubt.
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, if Python is an open source, suppose I create a package and then whether who will approve it who will approve it? Because if everyone is creating some package and which is not accessible, that will be a problem, no? It should
Yeah, so
be.
there is no approval as such. You put it out, and then of course, like if it is not a good package, the community won't use it, right? If there are bugs, people will tell you. Okay, it's not so easy to create a software. So what you will find is that, so there is this thing called GitHub, or there are repositories where you can make your software available to everyone. And there people can tell you like this problem, that problem. So these are basically community driven things, where a community of the users basically talk to each other. They say that, someone takes the responsibility of managing things, but the users, right, they kind of put the things together. So that's why open source is basically, the idea is that, everyone can contribute to that particular idea. That is how it works. So there are some basic Python things which have been developed by the developers, but people, come up with their own packages for their own use cases also. This is the idea. And some people don't publish, some people publish it. That's all.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
Hello,
you. Thank you.
ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, please explain the proprietary software once more.
Okay, so this is open source software is one thing, right? Open source software means which is freely available, you can go and contribute to it. So proprietary software means it is locked by certain people. So for example, if you know about Photoshop, right? You have heard about Photoshop. Have you heard about this
Yes, ma'am.
Photoshop?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I have
So
heard about Photoshop.
so Photoshop is a paid software. You have to pay for it. You can't go and change the Photoshop code or put your own things, right? You have to pay Adobe for it, right? That is a proprietary software. They own the rights to it, and you have to pay for it, and then only you can license it. So I like that MATLAB. There's another language like Python which does scientific calculations. It's called MATLAB. MATLAB is a paid software. You will not be able to download MATLAB just like that. If your university or institution has MATLAB access, you will be able to get it. Otherwise, you have to pay for it. So that's a proprietary software.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
So, ma'am, the
Just
proprietary software are not open sources. So you have to pay for to
yeah,
access this.
you have to pay to use it. Exactly. So another example of this is Windows, right? You know what is Windows? Windows is your
Yes,
operating
ma'am.
software, right? Operating
Yes,
OS it's
ma'am.
called. So your OS, Windows is a paid OS, right? Only if you buy a laptop which has Windows, you can use it. Whereas there's another OS, it's called Linux or Unix. Okay. So Unix based OSs are free in the sense that they're open source. So tomorrow in your Windows laptop, it's a little bit of work, but you can yourself download an OS and you can create another OS which is Linux. So this is how it works. So in astrophysics or in science, you will find a lot of people using Linux because simply because it is more flexible, more free. The thing about open source software is not only the fact that it is free, which is definitely a good thing, but also the fact that it is literally open in the sense that it is made through the public and it is made freely available to public. So a lot of people.
Ma'am, you are mute. You are mute. Ma'am, you are mute.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Please don't mute me. If you mute me, like it's difficult. I'm not watching the thing, but please don't mute me.
Ma'am, please explain the answer once more because you are muted in the time of explaining this.
Okay, yeah. I was saying that, there are operating systems also have open source and proprietary. So Windows is a proprietary software which is licensed by Microsoft, right? Only if you buy a laptop which has Windows, or you have to buy the Windows disk separately. You have to, I will not endorse this publicly, but you have to get some cracked version or something. But basically, MS Office, Windows, those are all paid, right? You cannot get it for free. But there are open source operating systems. So, for example, Linux.
You have also muted. Please unmute yourself. Someone is muting ours.
Guys, please don't do these things like muting. It's really irritating. Okay. I know there are 240 people here. Don't mute me. Okay.
Ma'am,
I'm
it's
trying.
creating too much. Ma'am, it's creating too much problem to hear
Uh,
yourself.
yeah. So I'll try to remove this control, but please don't mute me. Okay. It's very difficult. Right? Okay. Who? Okay. So what I was saying was open source. Again, I'm saying for the third time now. But Windows is not open source, right? You have to pay for MS Office. You have to pay for Microsoft to get Windows, right? You have to get a laptop which has Windows in it, which has MS Office in it. You're paying for all that. But there are open source operating systems like what is called Linux. Okay, Linux is Linux. It is an open source operating system, and it's available tomorrow. It takes a little bit of work, okay, but I will not have to go into that now because it's tangential. But essentially, if you will be able to, right now in your Windows computer, you can create a partition. You can also download Linux. A lot of people in science, for example, use Linux. The thing about open source software is the advantage is not only that it is free, but also the flexibility it gives you, because you are able to actually manipulate, or you are able to actually control the software itself instead of it being a black box, right? Many Any software which are proprietary is like a black box. Black box means something is going on inside, but we are not able to see what it is. In Python and other open source software, we can actually see inside. So that is why open source software is very useful when you have very sophisticated use cases. And of course, it means anyone can access, not only the people who, have some license through their institution. So if you're talking about programming languages, for example, there is this programming language called MATLAB. MATLAB is a proprietary software. You have to pay for it, or you have to be in an institution where they have paid for it on your behalf. Okay, so this is how it works. So it's a good idea to know what about these things, because tomorrow when you are looking for software to develop something, then you have to know whether I need to pay for it or not is very important. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
cool, great. Don't mute me, guys, please. Okay, next question. Knowing how to write a piece of code can help us to get things done fast. Please let us know where we can implement coding. Okay. I see a lot of people saying E. The answer is, of course, E. Everywhere you think about, you can implement coding. So, as an astrophysicist, I already told you physics is an area where there is a lot of use for coding, because there are some calculations which are too complicated to do by hand, which computers can do in matter of minutes, or actually not even minutes, maybe seconds. There are, we need coding, we need computers to reduce the huge amounts of data that we record through our telescopes. We need computers to visualize our results. In mathematics, similar kinds of things happen, right? To check all these complicated calculations. For example, one of the big places in which mathematics and computing come together is cryptography, right? Have you heard of cryptography? Basically, when you encrypt data, like your bank statement, all those things are very private, right? So you have to lock the data so it doesn't come from hackers. And what they do is they write huge algorithms to make sure that they do very complicated code so that the encryption happens properly. In your WhatsApp, you see, right, that your chats are encrypted. The encryption is done through huge mathematical calculations that hackers cannot solve very easily. Okay, economics, it's important because you have stock market, you have your finances which go up and down. All of these stock markets, everything is based on lots of difficult calculations which no human being can do so fast as a computer. Of course, in businesses, you need calculations to be done to keep track of all your expenses and everything. So maybe now will be a good time so that you guys can tell me where you plan to use coding, in different parts. Maybe one or two of you can tell, like, what is your background and where you plan to use coding. So that can also be a good idea.
Ma'am, I'm working in ISRO. Actually,
Okay.
so I want to do so many calculations.
Oh, wait, sorry. I think I muted you by mistake. Please unmute. I'm sorry. Now I muted someone by mistake. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
ma'am,
okay.
I'm working in ISRO, ISRO
Okay,
Kerala.
okay. Okay,
So I
okay.
want to do many programs like
Okay.
calculations of some non-conformances, some seals, O-rings which prevent the fluid. So such kind of program, how the leak rate happens, if this much is that is my motives, ma'am.
Okay, very nice. That's very nice. So nice to have someone from ISRO here. Anyone else wants to tell where you plan to use programming? Someone else can also contribute. I'm a computer science engineering talked. Okay, I can see cyber security, bioinformatics, industrial automation, cyber security, ethical hacking. Okay, banking, computer science, engineering. So yeah, from these answers itself, we can see that so many people are there. Gurpreet, I think it's on your side. I don't think it's my voice is breaking anymore. Biotechnology, programming to cure diseases through ML. Okay, I am not sure how that is working, but more power to you. In medicine, yeah, of course, biotechnology, SQL to Python for automation, of course, website development, apps to help people, gene coding, crypto mining. So, yeah, it's very nice to see so many different answers to the same question. So, that really gives you the idea of how powerful programming is, right? As I said, I use code because I do astrophysics research. Similarly, you use code for we have medicine, aerospace, all kinds of things. Computer engineering, of course, computer engineering means that you can use it to anything. Programming for web development, of course, app development, all these are also very important. So that's very nice. Before that, I saw some question also. I might have missed it before. What is programming logic? Okay, maybe like I'll really quickly go through this. Yeah, the answer is E. Oh, game design. Very nice. That's also important. Okay, so programming logic is basically, here's the thing, you have to give introduction, or you have to give instructions to the computer. Computer can do many things, but computer cannot think for itself. Okay, so the point is that you have to be the person who does all the thinking for the computer. Okay, so that is programming logic, right? Whenever we have to give instructions to someone, right, we have to think about the logical way to give those instructions, right? That is basically your programming logic. If I tomorrow give you a problem, right, I tell you that I need the computer to print hello 100 times, right? You have to logically tell me how to tell the computer. Of course you can write print hello, print hello, print hello, print hello 100 times. But is that the best way to do it? Tomorrow, if I tell I want it 1 million times, will you sit and type print hello 1 million times? No, right? That is not logical. That is not common sense. So you have to use a loop. So that's one example of logical thinking. That's one example of programming logic, where you're saying that I am doing the same thing again and again. I will put it in a loop. So that's one example of programming logic, right? Using loop. Yes, very good. So there, if you notice, I never said that I will write the loop in Python or I will write the loop in C++, right? Because that doesn't matter. Once you have the logic, then you can decide which is the best software for you to write the loop, right? It can be C++, it can be Python, it can be Fortran if you're old, it can be anything, okay? So the point is that logic is different from languages, okay? How to... So as I said, okay, what is GitHub? GitHub is basically, okay, I can see, one second. Okay, what is GitHub? We have, I think we have some time. I'll answer the question. What's the next question? Okay, so next is the scratch question. So before we go to that, I'll answer these questions. So if you have any questions, you answer now, and then we'll go to the scratch. Okay, so two questions I can see. One is, what is GitHub? What is GitHub? Basically, don't worry about it now. It's basically a place for you to store your documents. Okay, you can think of it like that. There are these things called repositories. So imagine that I am writing a code with you. Okay, Lisha, I'm writing a code with you. Okay, I have written the code, you and I share it with you. But then I find some mistake in the code and I update the code, right? Then I have updated on my computer, but it is not updated on your computer. So you have a different version, I have a different version. This is a problem, right? We should both have the same version, correct? So that's why people use repositories. Repository means you basically store the code in online, and then I can update in the repository immediately. You can also update, you will get the updated version. This is a idea that GitHub does. Okay, that is the idea of GitHub. Okay, sometimes you don't get the logic of code. Please share your experiences with coding, how to give. So I told you, right? You can read so many okay, how do you learn to ride a cycle? Do you sit and read books about riding cycles? Do you watch videos of people riding cycles? No, you go and ride a cycle, right? You have to fall down 1 or 2 times, then only you will learn how to ride the cycle. Okay, so this is how you ride the cycle. Similarly, if you want to do coding, if you want to do programming, you have to sit and do. Okay, you have to think about problems, right? If you just sit and say that I need the answer to the problem, I'll just look it up. If you keep looking up the answer to problem, suppose you didn't know how to do the 100 times thing, but then you decided to Google it. If you Google it, you will find so many people writing code in so many ways. If you just copy paste code, you will never learn coding. You have to sit and write the code. You have to make the mistakes. Sometimes you'll find that you didn't close the loop, you'll get an infinite loop. That's all part of learning coding. But the point is that you have to sit and do the coding yourself. Otherwise, you cannot learn it. So please, this is a very good course. Now, the next 11 weeks will be you involved with various kinds of problems, so in that way you can actually get an idea about how to code. So just do your assignments sincerely, and actually you should be the one to do that. That itself will give you a lot of help. And you can think about one way is that you should find it fun, right? It should not be like you're doing homework and someone is forcing you to do it. So maybe in your daily life there is some problem or some big calculation, right? Next time you can think that, oh, I'll write some small code for this. So you have to reach that level where you're like, I'll write some small code for this. So that is the way that you have to approach it. Why use the GitHub? Again, don't worry about GitHub now, because you don't have to use it right now, but it's very useful for people. How to practice Python on screen? Just download Python and start writing code. Okay, like just start writing code. So how to install Python, all that will be given to you in the next week. Okay, so don't worry about it right now. But yeah, any other questions? Any good books on Python? See, my problem is I am self-taught in Python, in the sense that I never learned from any books. I would say that there are, for learning coding, I don't know if this is correct or not. Again, I don't come from a computer science background, so maybe computer scientists will be angry with me if I say this. Learn coding on your own. Like, you just start writing problems, find out problems on your own, right? There are, I'm sure, so we just saw, right? Whatever field you're in, there is a programming thing to be there. So please keep the questions related to the subject. Okay. So, yeah, so it's, you have to understand logic on your own. Again, to write a cycle, you can't read a book on writing cycle. You have to sit and write the cycle your own. So just do that yourself. I am a PMRF at IISc, if that is what you're asking. Okay, I think those are the questions. Now people are deviating and asking questions which are not related to Python. So maybe we can go back to the slides. Any other questions before we go back? This is good. Like, we are learning about the... Where did you learn such good coding? Do you know that I know good coding? I have not shown you any examples of my code. How can you say I'm good at coding? Right? But no, I'm just kidding. I have used code all through my research. I took computer science in school. So, I have grown up with questions. Okay. If there are no more questions, we can go to... Okay, I can see one person.
I have a query.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so initially, so when we are coding, so after the basics, like some basic addition, subtraction, all those things, and basic computation, like then should we go to the Python library to learn some things, or like how do we go about it?
So the way that I would say you should approach coding, which is one thing that you have done very good, is that you have joined this course, right? So through this course, you will be getting some specific problems that you have to solve, right? For example, what I would say is that find some problems to solve, right? Instead of going and learning what all libraries are there and learning all the functions and then applying it, the way that I learn better is that if I have to apply it to a situation, right? So basically, suppose you have a problem to solve. Suppose you form a problem first. Suppose the problem is finding the factorial of some number. So do you know what a factorial is?
Yes,
So
yes,
yeah, okay. So suppose I tell you, can you find the factorial of this number? Okay. So then what you will find is, as you sit and write the code, you will find that to find the factorial, you need certain function, you need certain library. Then you can go and read about it. Does that make sense?
So then I should go to the Python libraries and search for a library which will help me find the factorial.
In case you need it. Sometimes you'll find that without using library itself, you're able to do. That's good. So what I would say is, instead of approaching it in this way, where you go and read the libraries and then you write the code, I would say that go and search for, like problems to solve through coding, or some simple programming questions, right? So you will find factorial is very common. There are so many such mathematical sequences. There's something called Armstrong numbers. There are many mathematical Fibonacci sequence. These are all small sequences. Like we solved for sequences in the beginning of this class, like that 20 20 11 11. So try to have a computer generate those sequences. That time you will find that you need some libraries to do that. So for those you might not need, but then suppose you're doing a very big calculation which involves pi, for example, pi r squared, then you need a library which has pi. So that is math library in Python. If you want to plot a graph, you find something that you need to plot. That's matplotlib. So like that, you have to kind of go through it. So where is the yeah?
Thank
So
you.
someone has also given your questions in chat, that W3 school free code camp. These are good places. There are many places like that. I have been out of this game for a while, so I don't know the updated list, but this is good. Please ask your friends also. I'm a biology student. Can I write Python coding easily? See, as we saw just now, right? I asked what are the places where you'll use coding, and almost everyone had a different answer. Is there a question? Okay, I'm muting you. Okay, so yeah, about the question about biology students writing code. So again, right, like don't worry about it. Yeah, we'll start the next slide. Give me a second. I will just answer this question and we'll start. So my biology, okay, yeah, you saw it. Each and every person had their own answer for the coding thing. So don't worry about your background. You just need common sense. Okay, programming logic is nothing but common sense. So you cannot memorize common sense. You cannot by heart common sense. If you approach coding by going and memorizing programs, you will never learn coding. You have to sit and write the code. Okay, so how to get the logic. See, there is no easy answer for how to get better at coding logic. You just have to write code. Okay, I would not say I'm a good coder. My code is like not very efficient, right? I don't optimize my code. It can be slow at times. But to understand that, you can do this. Website I'll share at the end. I don't think there are any recording will be shared with you. Website will be shared with you. Slides will be shared with you. This I have said, I think, 5 times in this class alone. So I am not going to answer that again. I will tell you at the end. Any other questions? About the exam, please don't ask me. I'm not in charge of the exam. Please go and ask in the discussion forums. There are TAs which are made for saying those things. Okay, please go and ask in the discussion forum. My next class, okay. So just to clear this all up, there are maybe multiple PMR of TAs for this course. I don't know the others. We'll all be solving similar questions, I guess. But the point is that my sessions are at this time, Monday 6 to 8. So previously people are saying that can you change this session, that session and all that. So don't worry, there are multiple sessions of these kinds of things. So if you can't join one session, please join another session. Okay, and don't worry if you can't join any session, recordings are available. Is that fine? Recordings, I will share the link at the end. Is there any other questions? Otherwise, we can finish the class with the last few questions. I don't see any other questions. Thank you, guys. Okay. So my sessions are 6 to 8. Again, thanks for the questions. Keep them coming, but we have only half an hour left. So let's go on. So next set of questions is using Scratch. Did you all use Scratch in your class? Did you all use Scratch? I think it was used, right, in your lectures?
Yes, some of the video we have seen, ma'am.
Okay, cool. So then
Not
this,
up to full.
yeah, so this
Animation, up
question,
to animation part we have seen.
okay, that's great. So this Scratch is essentially for you to Scratch is essentially for you to understand programming logic. Okay, it's not a programming language as such. It's for you to understand the programming logic and play around with these things. Okay, so basically this is a question where there's going to be this cat and it's attempting to play football with this ball that is disguised and all, and it has a particular thing. So will you guys be able to code this? If I give you, say, 10 minutes, can you put this in the Scratch? Do you guys know how to do that?
Have you tried using Scratch on your own?
Yeah, we have tried many. And this thing we have not tried. A cat touching board.
That's okay, but you know how to define functions and
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
things, right? So I can give you a few minutes and you can try to put at least some of this in the thing, or should I just show you?
I think
Scratch. Okay, I'll give like 6 minutes in case someone wants to try. Okay, someone says, I don't know this. What is Scratch? I have learned it. Okay. So, okay. In your video lectures online, if you go in sir's lectures, you will find that there is a website. Let me just share it maybe. I'm putting it in the chat, okay? Scratch.mit.edu. Okay, wait. Okay. So basically, this is a website where you can put these codes. I mean, it's not exactly a programming language. It's for you to like play around with understanding how different programming works. So what did I tell you about programming logic? Programming logic is the way in which you can break down tasks into different instructions, right? So this is exactly what you do in Scratch. You can see that you are giving so many instructions. So you have this thing called kick. Finally, the cat should kick the ball. For the cat to kick the ball, you are giving so many instructions. Okay, so this is a way for you to understand coding without writing code yourself. So you can try doing this. I'll give you a few minutes in case some of you want to try. If you can't, don't worry. When you get the video, and don't ask me where the video is, I'll tell you at the end. But when you get the video and when you get the slides, you can go and try it yourself. So I put the link of Scratch in the chat, I think. Did I put it? Yeah, I put the link so you guys can go and check it. Okay, cool. Does everyone, is that okay with everyone? Fine. Any other questions? Okay, so since we are little low on time, okay, I'll wait for a few more minutes and then I'll show you. Okay, maybe you guys can try it. I think we are a little low on time, so let's just move on. Is that fine with everyone? Please try it later. Don't worry, you will get the slides, okay? Don't ask me again about that. You will get the slides and the video. That time you can try it, okay? I'm just moving on because it's 7:40. I don't
Ma'am,
want
please
to keep
explain
you
the
guys.
term. Hello, ma'am. Please explain the term Scratch or how we'll do this.
Okay,
I cannot
so
know it.
so that's what I'll show you guys, okay? Instead of you trying it, okay? So can you see my screen? Can you see my Safari? I mean, can you see this window?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yeah,
this is
visible.
basically Scratch, okay? If I go here, so this is Scratch. You can create a profile if you want. And if you press create, you can see that you get this news project, right? You can see that there are so many different options. Can you see this? Moving, turning, going, gliding, saying something, particular kinds of things, sound, controls, repeating, if loops, waiting. So you can see all these different things, right? Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you can see these blocks that I've shown. You can go and you can drag these things here. For example, if I want to do a repeat task, I can drag it here and I can put, I'm also using this for the first time. Today morning for this class, I used it for the first time. It was kind of fun. So I want all of you also to have some fun. Please try it out yourself. But basically, you can put these tasks. Okay. So here, the NPTEL question, they have given some set of tasks, right? So you can actually do some animation and you can do many things. So just like this cat is there are many other things. I have not used this before, so probably I'm the wrong person to ask about all those things. I think the professor has already given some examples in his class. So please go and try those for yourself. Again, get your hands dirty when it's programming. You have to sit and do it. Don't just watch people do it. So this is this, and you can also create a new block. So suppose I give kick, then I have now my own block that I've created and I can put something under this. So that's how these things are created. Okay, is that fine? So will you guys try this on your own today when I share the slides?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
Cool.
ma'am.
Okay, great.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
now, based on this code, we are going to answer some questions. So first, let's look
Yes,
at the
ma'am.
code. So today
Yes,
morning, I
ma'am.
sat and I wrote the thing in Scratch. So you can see my screen, right? So for the cat, you have these particular things. And then for 1 second, I
Ma'am,
think.
please zoom your screen. Please zoom your screen.
Okay, let me see if I can. Is that fine? If I zoom
Yes,
more
ma'am.
than this, you won't be able to see. Okay. So let's just shit. Okay, fine. So huh. Okay, so you can see that this is the cat, this is the ball. For the cat, these commands have been written, and for the ball, these have been written. This I wrote from the question, okay, which was shared with me. So you can see that there are some kind of commands. Now, if I press this kick, you can see what happens. It kicks the ball comes back, and then the cat keeps rotating. Okay, so this is basically what this program does. It kicks the ball, and then the cat rotates. And if I move the cat back, then I can play it again. So why does the ball rotate? Because if you see, you can see here that there is something defined as rotate, and you can see that 3 times it has been repeated, and basically 90 degrees 4 times, which means 360, right? 90 degree, 90 degree, 90 degree, 90 degree. Similarly, each of them have some instructions. Again, rather than me explaining,
Ma'am,
yes.
the confusion is actually the when the cat kicks, no, the moment itself the ball starts. How can we connect these two blocks? There is a block for cat and there is a block for ball.
So you can see, right, here there is kick, and here it says broadcast ball kicked. Correct. Can you see this?
Okay.
So then when you receive ball kicked, then the boomerang happens. And this is the code for the ball. So you can see how it's linked, right? From this ball kicked, it goes to this ball kicked. And then this boomerang happens, which is essentially, this is the motion of the ball.
Okay.
So got it? So that's how, and then when the ball
I
hits
got
the
it.
cat's face, again it goes. So this is how real programs are written, right? You have output of one program which becomes input of another program, and it has to all flow together. So that's a very good question, that how these are linked. So you can see. So that's why I encourage you guys to sit and write the code so you can see exactly how the sequence of events is happening. Okay. Any other questions? Do you get this idea? Okay, so I don't see any. 1 sec. Let me just check the chat. Okay, right? No problems. Please, all of you, again and again, I'm repeating the cycle example. I think I've said it 10 times by now. You have to sit and do it yourself. Otherwise, it's very difficult to do coding. Even these simple, things that look very kiddish, it can help you to understand the logic. And it is a fun, like, software. So, you can also go and play with it a little bit. Have fun with the course. Okay, so this is the first step. Again, these questions will make more sense if you sit and do the code, but maybe you can just look at this code and we can also look at it side by. Let's try this then. Where is that? 1 sec. Whoops. Okay, no need. Let's try to put it side by side. And okay. So, okay, like, let me try to. This won't work. This won't work. Never mind. Okay, fine. So yeah, this is a question. Try to answer it. If you can't answer it, it's fine. You try it yourself and then see if the answers match up with what you have tried. Okay. So this is a block which is meant for the cat. What is the functionality of this code? I'll also try to share my Scratch thing, but I will share it only next week because I want you guys to try it yourself. Okay. So here is the block of code which is meant for the cat. What is the functionality of this code? So please put your answers in the chat like before, A, B, C, or D. So this is the initial code, this part, right? Which is kick. So it kind of brings the cat. Maybe I'll just show you the answers because this is difficult to answer without having the context, right? I can understand. So, oh, okay, okay. People have answered. Ah, okay. Okay, okay. Whoops. Okay, I didn't see on my phone. It didn't update. So let me just, shit, wait, where is the, so yeah, the answer is actually B, and you will see this that it actually, sorry, A, it brings the ball closer to the cat. So actually, if you see in the beginning, the cat and the ball are separated. So you have to write code for the cat separately, code for the ball separately. And if you press kick, you will see that the ball and the cat come closer together because of that part of the code. Okay. So maybe I'll just show you the answer so that it's a little easier. For some reason, my chat is not showing on my phone. I'm sorry, I didn't see your answers. Okay. Okay, fine. So next question is, please keep answering in the chat. The block of code displayed here makes the cat rotate from impact from the boomeranging ball. How many rotations does the cat make? So I think I already discussed this. Please put your answers in the chat. Where did the meeting go? Okay. Okay, I see people are saying two different answers. The
Please
answer,
share the question.
yeah, sorry, here. Okay, so the answer is actually C, right? So here I understand why some people got confused. Look very carefully as what's happening. This block is inner loop, which is actually about the rotation. This tells you about one rotation, right? 90 degree, 90 degree, 90 degree, 90 degree. That's 360 degree. That's only one rotation. That one rotation is happening 3 times. And that's why the answer is 3. Again, if you sit and code it, try changing this 3 to 4 and try changing this 4 to 3 and see what happens. Right? This is how you should approach coding. Once you solve a problem, try changing your parameters and see how that changes. Right? You should have fun with it. That's the only way in which you learn coding. Is that fine for everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. So next question.
Question, there is no command for ball.
Sorry, what?
In first question, there was no command for ball. So you said option 4. In first question, I'm confused.
Yeah, so this is in the sense that it really brings the cat closer to the ball. That's why they say that it should be the other way around. But you try it out. This is the one that actually explains the most. Okay? Just try it out. If you still have doubt, you tell me. Let's just move to the next question. So, okay, sorry. I showed the answer by mistake. Please answer how many loops are there in this code?
2.
Please answer in the chat. Okay, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, the answer is 2 loops, as someone said. So basically, this is one loop and this is another loop. So there are 2 loops. Okay. Next question. How many loops are there in this code? How many loops are there in this code? Okay, very good. Many people have answered and said 1. 1 is the answer. As you can see, there is only one repeat, right? There is only one loop. So this is the last question of the day. The block of code displayed here is meant for the ball. If the value beside repeat would have been 1 instead of 2, then what would have happened? There are 2 statements which are the answer, not just one. Okay, B. B is one of the answer. You can see. Okay, let me just check. It's not updating on my phone. I'll just check the chat here. Okay, I can see B and C, A, B and C. So the answer is actually A and B. Okay, so again, this might be a little difficult to understand, but please try putting this entire thing in Scratch. Then it will become very clear which is the correct option. And when you put in Scratch, again, try getting creative with it, right? You can also put, instead of repeat 2 times, put 1 time, put 0 time, change the order, see how things change, right? Just because they have given you this exercise doesn't mean you have to do only this exercise. That's what programming is about. It's about, I don't know why people are still joining, but yeah, it's about creating problems and seeing how the things change with change of parameters. That's how a good programmer approaches things. Okay. So yeah, so finally, before I end, I just wanted to share with you some of the good programming practices. One good way in which you should do coding and approach coding throughout this course is to make sure that any third person who looks at your code should be able to understand it very easily. We'll talk about this more when we start writing actual Python code, but please have this good habits of code commenting in your code, putting proper indentation in your code. Those are very important. And finally, coding is a journey full of ups and downs. So don't worry if you get demotivated at times, you will always come through. Okay. So that is the end of today's class. It was a little chaotic. It's my first class, but I think we covered a lot of different things. So because now don't worry, I'll tell again about all the recording and stuff because people keep asking. So let me just go to the first slide again. Okay, so please listen very carefully to all those people who asked. This is my email address. If you have any questions, queries, please email me on this. I keep checking my mails regularly if you have any questions, and also if you have suggestions. If you want that next class, please cover this topic, or next class, please cover that topic. If you mail me in advance, I will be able to incorporate that into my slides. Don't mail me on Monday morning saying that today evening do this. I will not be able to do. Okay, so there are going to be these sessions. My sessions are every Monday 6 to 8. There are other PMRF TAs who are also going to be solving same questions or similar questions, right? So if you find the questions are repeated, that's the reason why. But I still think it's worth to attend different sessions because people will solve problems in different ways and explain in different ways, right? But if you have, some people are saying you have problem to join this session, please go and join those sessions then, or please don't worry about it. Recordings and slides will be available for all of them. Okay. Finally, this is my website. If you go to my website, it's not updated right now, but by today night or by tomorrow morning, I will upload the video and the slides that were used in this class. Okay, so I'll just share. Let me just do one thing. Let me just copy paste this links in the chat so that it's easy for you guys. Why did it? Okay, I don't know why it shared like that. Let me just share it again. Okay, and this is my email address. Please mail me here if you have any queries. Okay, I think that's it. One request to all of you is that please join on time, right? 6 to 8 is the session. Please don't join beyond say 6:05 because you join late, then you ask the same questions which have been discussed in the beginning of the class. It's very disturbing for me, very disturbing for everyone else. So I request you all that if you're joining or if you're planning, because I can see, can you see people are trying to join now? There are only 5 minutes left. So please try to join on time, then the session will be very smooth. Okay, it's my request to you all of you. Okay, so thanks for joining this session. I think we can end. I hope this was useful to you guys. Okay, so next week same
Yeah,
time,
very much
Monday.
useful, ma'am. Very
Okay,
very
great.
nice. Thank you.
Okay, great. So next Monday 6 to 8 will be the next class. We'll discuss week 2 stuff. Okay, in case you want any doubts between that, please mail me. Okay, fine. Okay, so enjoy the rest of your evening. Okay, bye guys, bye.
Okay, ma'am.